Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be a remote tune with a man named Thomas in Norway. So I'm going to bring him in via video chat, and I'm going to talk to the owner and talk about the engine build, what he's done to try and tune the car himself, and then the process of us tuning his car, as well as the final results that we were able to achieve with this car. So with that in mind, let's get right into the interview with the owner, and we'll find out what's going on with this car, and then we'll get into the tuning. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Darren.
Thanks for reaching out, and yeah, let's hear about your car.
Yeah, so my car here, I can shortly flip over the camera. It's a Clubman 1971 model. So I had it for about 2 years now, but it's probably my fourth or fifth Clubman and seventh Mini over the years. I've been having Minis for almost 18 years. I've been having different Minis. This Mini, I bought it 2 years ago. Then it was a fairly hopped up engine, a 3099, with a very coarse cam. I'm not sure what cam it was, but it was very undrivable. You had to have it above 3000 RPM to even get it going. Unfortunately, the block cracked between cylinders 2 and 3, fairly common for that high capacity. It was not offset board, so only a couple of millimeters of wall between the cylinders.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, so I needed to rebuild the engine. So never done that before. I'm a bit of a person. I haven't done it before. How hard can it be? Let's try. So yeah, spent the winter from 2023 to 24 rebuilding the engine, new block, bored it out to, it was a ready for scrap 1275 block, but it was never overboard. So we bored it to 1310, bought a ACD RS cam, and some other the oil zero gap, zero tolerance oil pump from AC Dodd as well, cam followers and other bits and pieces recommended from AC. Rebuilt the gearbox. Yeah, other specs to notice is HIF6 carburetor with and a 45D distributor, high energy, so 0.9 ohm coil, Viper coil, BP6 ES spark plugs, and normal low ohm ignition cables around 2.5 kilo ohms per feet. So,
Yeah, great. So you've been watching the videos, you've been listening to what we've been saying, you know, preparing in advance to get it all running.
Yeah, I've been studying you on the side, both you and AC, watching the videos, trying to pick up about what's all this tuning about, because rebuilding a new engine, I understand I need to change something. So I also bought a fairly good kit of needles, springs, trying to calibrate to the right viscosity of oil in the damper, trying to pick up of all of your stuff to kind of in the same way. I haven't done this before. Let's try to figure it out on our own. A bit fun as well. It's a good hobby to try new things and learn some new things. I like learning new things, and yeah. So, but in the end, I kind of started just chasing my tail and not understanding what was going on, because I buy more narrow needles, expecting to have more fuel. The car was running really lean. And also just to mention that important point, how do I know it was lean?
Right.
I have I have a kit called Carb Sheeter, and it's a AFR or a lambda gauge sensor mounted to the car, and it uses a small module and an app on your phone or a small external display that you can see the AFR values. So I could see in real time that my car was running way too lean. On acceleration, it was, needing to, so it felt like it didn't breathe enough or it didn't get enough fuel. So it was stuttering and not running even. So in my simple mind, I thought, okay, I'll just need a more narrow needle. So several hours of Googling later, I bought a few different needles recommended from internet.
Mhm.
But they were either a little bit better or just way worse. So a needle that was, this should run 1380 with this and this carburetor. That should be more than enough. And that was even leaner than other things. So,
Yeah, you got to measure and check
sorry.
everything when you fit it. So
Yeah.
the system you have, that carb cheater, it's a very useful data logging system. I'll get into
Mm,
you
mm,
showing the data logs themselves when I talk about
mm,
what we did to the car. But
mm.
yeah, you had this data logging system, so you could not only drive and look at a display and see what your feeling was, but you could also
Yeah.
come home and put it on your computer and see what the feeling was while you were driving. That way you didn't have to
Yes.
pay attention to the gauge.
Yeah.
So the
Yes.
data logging feature was probably one of the best features for our remote tuning process, was using
Mm.
the data logger.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really helpful as well, and the you can do I think it's about 3 minute logging of the driving, and it stores on your phone, and then you can upload it to the carb cheater website, and they will plot it as a chart automatically.
Mhm.
And you can export it as well if you're fond of that. You can do it in CSV files for those that like to, if you want to use the data on your own. So that's quite nice for those that want to really deep dive. But for our sake as well, to have the values directly,
Mhm.
we don't just have uh, AFR. We also have vacuum, and we have RPMs, and we have the speed via GPS. Everything into the log. So if you're paying a little bit attention when you're driving, how you're driving, you remember each area of the log as well. So let's say you go down a slope, you don't have that much throttle, you will see the vacuum increase, but the AFR will increase as well, going lean. But that's natural because you're going down the hill. So it's like a false positive, you could say, of a lean
Right.
incident. It's a natural lean area.
And that's why you want to be able to look at the data log to understand what the manifold vacuum is doing. Because if you just saw the gauge and it looked lean, but you
Yeah.
didn't realize you were off throttle, you might be concerned about it running too lean. But in reality, it's a natural function of the carburetor going lean when you're
Yeah.
off throttle.
Yes.
So you saw all these lean situations. You saw it running lean under acceleration, and that's when you
Mm.
reached out to contact me for doing remote tuning.
Yeah, yeah, that was basically it. I was kind of spending weeks on 3, 4 different needles, trying, kind of gauging each needle to try to adjust it a little bit, different oils, try to figure it out. I thought I need some help because now I'm just chasing my tail. I'm basically just chasing my tail. There's something I'm not understanding. I need some expert advice on this. So
Right.
that's when I reached out to you, a few other ones as well in the community of tuning, but they were busy times. And mentioned them. AC Dodd I reached out to, and Thomas Modern and Classics in the UK, but both of them didn't answer me, and I suspect it's because they are very, very busy
They are very busy.
doing. Yeah. So, but Darren replied. You replied very fast, and we set a date, and yeah, we did it. So,
Yeah, we actually had to do it over 2 days. So
yeah, yeah,
let's go ahead and get into the tuning bits themselves. So day one, we pretty much went over all the ignition components, verified that
yeah,
you had corrected voltage at the coil,
mm,
verified your curve. So we went through all the
yeah,
ignition components, and you had already gone over everything in advance, so it made it a lot faster of a
mm,
process.
yeah,
But then we went through and we looked at your needle profiles you had, and I chose one that had good cruising below about 2,500, but none of the other needles you had were better than this one that we chose. So we needed to modify this one to fix your cruising speeds. That was pretty much day one for us. We didn't have, you're 8 hours ahead of me, so we only had so much time to do tuning per day.
Yeah, this was a Friday. The evening is coming. The evening of the weekend is coming, and it was better to have a small break and go at it again. So we met up again on a Sunday. It was Friday, and then the second was on Friday. No, on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after Friday, we had kind of worked out some of the steady speed fueling, but we hadn't worked on any of the acceleration fueling on the needle. So on Sunday, we went into all that that aspect. And of course, you had taken it out for a test drive after the first day of tuning and provided the data log, so I was able to look at the log and know exactly what we need to do for our second day of tuning. Yeah. So day two was all acceleration enrichment, fueling adjustments.
Yeah, I also did a short trip with my girlfriend to warm up the car before the second day on Sunday to have it warmed up, but also to gain more knowledge of where we was, if needed to have more feedback too on how it was doing. So also being prepared. So when we got into it on Sunday, I had driven the car warm, taken out the needle, and was prepared for the next stage. So, yeah.
So, with the tuning process itself, what did you think of needle modifications, and what are your thoughts on the SU carburetor as far as its ability to be tuned?
The process was, I would say, easy, but it's still really hard because to take off a thousandth of an inch on a small needle that's 0.15 of an inch, and in small areas. We were working in a 1-inch area or slightly above a 1-inch area, and doing like small modifications to areas of a tenth of an inch or 2.5 millimeters area of the needle to improve in different areas. So that was sometimes a bit difficult to understand how much and what area. Also getting the needle set up for the filing. That was a bit time consuming, I notice often. That's the area of, I would say, improvement for me as well, that if I'm going to do something like this again. I can maybe I can show you my setup, how I did it with like normal homemade tools. So I'll just switch over the camera here. So here I have my normal drill, and with the needle in the chuck, and I have a small Velcro band that I can use to press in the key here to drive it when filing. So to get the needle through and fasten into here without falling out that easy, because it's quite easy that it falls out or goes very untrue. So that was like it takes a bit of time, but after a while I kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, and we had to do about 6 or 7 different modifications to the needle that you have currently in the car.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
the reason why is
also
because I didn't want you to modify it too heavily initially and then ruin the needle. So we had to take very small cuts of the needle to not damage it, and we were able to do that successfully. It just took 6 or 7 different trips to the drill to make the modifications.
Yeah. But I like that approach as well. Nice and steady. Don't overdo it. I really like that approach. So yeah, it takes a bit more time, but gets more right. And we're focusing on different areas step by step, different areas, different. So you modify, measure, modify, measure. I really like that approach. It really fits with my mindset as well of working with things. So if you don't know, you have to measure.
Right. Yeah, and fortunately, you're able to give me, the measurements I needed. And it's difficult to explain how long to sand a certain area of a needle to
Mm,
someone, and especially if you
yeah,
don't know the speed of the drill versus their finger price, like, you just have to go
yeah,
at it carefully. But
yeah,
we were able to do it. It took us what, about 6 hours maybe total by the
yeah,
time we
yeah,
started and finished all
yeah,
of the.
yeah.
So go ahead and tell us about how does it drive now that we've done all the tuning.
Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video thus far. If any of those symptoms sound familiar to you or you're experiencing those in your cars, feel free to reach out through the comments or through the email link in the description below. I can discuss tuning issues or possibly coordinate a remote tune with you if you need one. And stay tuned for part 2, where I actually go over all the tuning work we did as well as the final results with Thomas. So, once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.